Well, Sergeant Smith, welcome to the Rhode Island National Guard podcast. I think it's an official podcast now.
Yeah.
I'm Sergeant.
I don't know that that's the name of it.
Okay. We'll figure that one out. I'm Sergeant Terry Rajsombath with the 110th Public Affairs Detachment.
And I'm Tech Sergeant Deirdre Salvas with the 143rd Airlift Wing Public Affairs Office.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. Well, guys and ladies, thank you for having me. My name is Sergeant Smith. I'm with the Recruiting Battalion.
All right, Sergeant Smith. In a nutshell, we just shot a video of you. Can you tell the viewers what was it about?
So, basically, today I came here to tell my story. I grew up in a refugee camp. I lived through 2 civil war, so to speak. We then went into my journey to becoming a soldier, and now I'm a recruiter, and how being a recruiter has helped me make a difference in my community, and how it's made me the better version of myself.
Yeah, and just living the American dream now.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask Sergeant Smith any specific questions?
Do you want to go first?
You had so many questions before, but it's all good. So, Sergeant Smith, obviously the video was very condensed. Well, we heard about your past and a lot of the trauma and the journey of becoming a soldier. Now that you're a soldier of the Rhode Island Army National Guard, what do you want to share with members of the Ring or members of the Liberian community? You know, what's on your chest?
One of the things on my chest that there is an opportunity for forward mobility. By that, what I mean is there's an opportunity for you to grow. It is part-time service, but the opportunity to be full-time is also available. Mm-hmm. I think which is one of the most amazing things that I didn't even know about. But it does exist, and the opportunity to be that version of yourself you never thought possible, where you could actually be a soldier every day, mm-hmm. and actually impact the lives of not just soldiers that's in, but civilians as well. So, which I think is amazing.
I have my questions now.
Fire away.
So, something that really struck me about listening to your story was your relationship with your dad. And I don't feel like we really had a chance to go into that relationship. And I was wondering if you minded sharing a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking, because my dad was one of the most significant figures. Well, he is my dad, but for that to be, my dad's like a hero to me. So for that to be a significant figure in your life, I mean, it should be like something that should automatically be. But in most circumstances, that's not the case. But my dad felt so responsible for bringing us here and making sure that we did what we had to do, be on the right path.
Do you have any follow-up questions to that?
I'm just curious personally. I mean, so your father didn't want you to enlist and become a soldier. Was it like a constant fight the whole way through, and like where you just had to rebel, or did you finally get his blessing before you shipped off to boot camp?
Actually, when I did enlist, 2016, I didn't really tell him. So I told him after I came home from MEPS. Mm-hmm. I went there the same day. So throughout I don't think that his mind would have been he would have changed his mind, because look, what we went through was very traumatizing, especially being an adult in that situation. Like I said prior in the video, the emotions and the fear didn't hit me until I was actually in the States. And living through what he lived through, being fear for your children or your loved ones being killed in front of you, I'm sure there's certain things he probably didn't disclose to me that he probably saw, that affected him and made him come to that decision. So when I actually enlisted, I kind of just went behind his back. I was old enough, I had kids already, but you still feel this like responsibility to inform your parents, no matter how old you are. So I felt bad. So I enlisted, and then I went home that day, and I stopped by his house, and I told him that I was a soldier now. Yeah.
So something Terry and I talk a lot about is post-traumatic growth. So I don't know if you had any
Any
like thoughts for like that.
Just a little curious. I mean, so a lot of people when they enlist, right? They're especially the beginning of the Iraq War and all that. They're gearing up for war. You already survived a lot of war. Any thoughts on that, or any kind of reflection on the fact that like you escaped war and now you're a soldier potentially going to war? Do you think about that gives you sort of any advantage, or I don't know? I'm just curious.
One of the things I will say is that my entire existence has been coming to this point of being a soldier. I felt like that everybody grew up. It sounds really like cliche, but everybody grew up with this feeling in it. Something happened, whether it's in your past or something happens that kind of triggers what you want to be for the rest of your life. It happens. Some people, they witness their mom with cancer, they push them to become doctors to try to help people.
Yeah.
And what I witnessed was the driving force to make me want to be a soldier. So I don't really focus on the war part. It doesn't give you an advantage because we're all humans. We all feel fear. We all go through traumatizing events. But it does prepare you mentally. Yeah. It does give you, and you did see the door open, and you did see what war can bring already. So preparation, however, yes, but mental preparation, yes, but everything else that come with it, I had to learn.
So in your life, you've experienced this trauma. Trauma is something that you learn to cope, you learn to live with, and over your lifetime, what have been some ways that you've learned to cope with that trauma, and like what are some ways like you've grown from it?
One of the things I did was I especially, this is not the first time of telling the story. I remember in the fifth grade, one of my teachers pulled me aside, and I had to explain to her one of the reasons why I act the way I acted. I was a little aggressive. I would say that I wasn't a bad child. I just was very aggressive. And she said, "What's the issue?" And when I explained what I went through, and one of the things we did was I played a lot of sports growing up. So instead of sitting down, talking about it, I found myself very, very active. My father kind of pushed that too as well. So I found myself helping people more through sports. So throughout my existence in from middle school to high school, I was either a captain of the whatever team I was on, where I was partaking in leadership, kept me very active. And that's one of the ways I felt like I grew, because I didn't look at it as a traumatizing experience. I always looked at it as a way, how can I help people? That's how I switched it. So instead of feeling pity for myself, is how can I prevent this from happening again?
Also, it sounds like, if I were to put it in my own words, like you took an experience that was negative to you and you took that energy and you made it something positive in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that is the only path that you can take. Other than seeking professional help. But fortunately for me, I was able to find other avenues to put my energy and focus into. And one of the biggest way that I feel is possible is if you actually use that trauma into your advantage in helping people to not live that trauma. And that's what, again, pushed me to want to be a soldier.
Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Was there like, do you remember that certain moment where it just clicked in your head? You're like, I want to be a soldier.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, what was the time? I remember when I came home one day, it was Behind Enemy Lines. It was a movie about a soldier that got trapped behind enemy lines.
Oh, yeah, Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, yeah. Right? It was Owen Wilson. Now, I always had that in me, but it was that movie that it kind of like, but it kind of brought back a lot of memories. Like I was literally always living behind enemy lines my whole life growing up. Whether it may be from Liberia to Sierra Leone, from Sierra Leone to Guinea, that was what we was going through, and I feel like I was like, wow, I definitely want to be a soldier. I want to be just like this dude, even though he was kind of special forces or whatever, but that kind of drove me. That kind of cemented the idea in my head.
How old were you?
When Behind Enemy's Line came out, what was that? 2006.
Everything feels like it's only like 5 years ago, but it was probably like easily 15 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah, and because it happened, and I had the conversation with my dad like 2 years later. Because I remember we went to go see the movie, me and my brother in theater, and we was like at the mall the whole day. And then after we left the movie, it was like that was it. It was like that movie, the Inception. It was once it got implemented in my head, that was the day the idea grew. And then that was it from there.
I'm gonna let you know right now when that movie came out. Then we're gonna feel really old.
Yeah, I can say 2004, maybe easily, or maybe 1998.
Because I do that thing where I always feel like it was just a few years ago. And I'm talking to someone, there's like, whoa, no, that was 10 years ago. 2001.
2001. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh my God, I can't believe you said 2004. Yeah. So
That wasn't long either
3 years
before
later,
or after 9/11 then.
Yeah, it happened pretty. And I mean, I didn't really understand the significance behind 9/11. For me, my decisions or I feel like it was already embedded in me. But when I watched that movie, and I was like, man, that guy went through all that to survive, and he made it out regardless of the circumstance. And at that age, it kind of what I wanted to do.
So that calling to be a soldier was already in you, embedded in you before 9/11.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What has been an impactful experience so far since becoming a soldier?
One of the most impactful experience, that I've had is on other people enlisting. I had a gentleman, same situation, grew up in Senegal, similar situation, poverty, came into the United States, was 9 months into being a resident of the United States, contacted me and said he wants to enlist. Didn't speak much good English. Was on the path to getting his GED, and I looked at him for a long time, and I saw myself, and I was like, man, he didn't get the opportunity to grow up in the States like I did. So I pretty much took him under my wing as like a big brother situation. It wasn't about recruiting him at that point. At that point, it was making him into somebody successful, and spent a lot of time with him, helping him out, putting him in centers to improve his English. It took a long time. Usually, we're very busy people in our jobs, but I felt that the time I was spending was easy for me because I wanted him to be successful, and he did. He passed the ASVAB, got his GED immediately after, because you take the ASVAB, it kind of gave him confidence. I was like, man, everything we've been doing, it's working, right? You could go take your GED, don't be scared. Went and got the GED, right? Boom. And before you know it, my man was on a plane to basic training. Texts me every day. He's still there right now. Texts me every day how much he appreciate and what I did for him. How much like I was God sent, and that is one of the most impactful thing I've done as a recruiter and as a soldier.
What is he going to do in the Army?
He is a 92 Yankee supply specialist.
Okay.
Yes.
How many soldiers do you think you've put through so far into National Guard?
27.
Nice. 27 lives you impacted.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Just curious, what's your biggest selling point to have someone enlist? And this isn't like, a hard recruiter sell, like, it's great, free school, all that kind of stuff. But do you have anything that's personal that you share with people that gets people saying, yeah, I want to enlist?
I could easily tell you that it's me. Yeah. That's selling. I don't sell the National Guard. I sell who I am.
Your story.
Myself. Yes. I don't. You should be able to explain to an individual about yourself and how the National Guard has impacted you. So I don't consider me selling anything, a product. I'm selling myself, introducing myself as who I am. I'm a textbook. I'm open. And once they see that and that I'm true to myself, that I will be true to them, that goes a long way.
I feel very curious about your culture. So and especially, what it's like now that you've been in the United States for a long time. What is your experience of being Liberian American at this point?
I feel like I have more flexibility. I feel like I have more flexibility as far as enjoyment of food, language. I feel like I am more not more diverse, because there are people that are more diverse. I feel like I am able to I have different sides inside of me, kind of, so to speak.
Grown.
Yeah, I have different, I don't know how to put it, but I have different characters, right? It depends where I'm at. Okay. I'm very, very adaptable. Like I said, I'm very Americanized at one point, and I could switch my accent if I'm in the Liberian community, and including food. I eat a different type of food. But the Liberian food is what I mostly enjoyed, but I also love Italian. I love the fact that, I love my pasta. You can't take my pasta away, but I love my Liberian dishes. And I feel like being able to enjoy both worlds at the same time is one of the best things that I feel like coming from Liberia you have.
So what is one thing you would want me, who doesn't have a lot of exposure to the Liberian community, what's something I should know, whether it's culture or food, anything?
So as a Liberian, Liberian people are very proud. So what might be good to you is actually offensive to a Liberian person. Words, phrases you say. So for instance, if a Liberian person see you and you're losing weight, and they will literally look at you and be like, "You're something is wrong with you. You look sick, all right?
Really?
You must have some type of disease or something like that." All right. One thing you should know is never refuse food when you go to a Liberian person's house.
Okay.
Right? Because it's considered to be extremely disrespectful. So when I go visit my dad and they offer me food, I have to eat regardless of what diet I'm on. If I'm on keto, they don't understand. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
You got to eat. And I'm like, no, I'm on keto. I can't eat that right now. They're like, oh, what? Something is wrong? Are you okay? Are you sick? Or you think and we believe in superstition a lot. So they feel like you think that they're going to poison you. They build some type of animosity towards you. Or you think I'm a witchcraft, because those things are the things that comes with the culture, So you're like, okay, I eat the food, So
what's something I have to experience from your culture?
I would say is I don't know if you've ever been to a Liberian wedding. Yeah, it's one of the amazing experiences you can have going to a Liberian wedding. There's actually 2 weddings that happens. The first one is all in African attire. Okay, you'll be wearing the entire time is African attire. The next one is traditional. Okay, at the end of each wedding though, there is the grand march, and the grand march is led by the father of the bride. And you guys will dance in circles until you fall. And that's literally how it goes. But it's amazing experience, amazing atmosphere. And I would recommend for you to travel to Liberia when you do have the chance.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. A little intimidated. I can't dance, but I'll learn.
Yep.
Any questions? So I'm just curious. I think we're gonna wrap it up shortly.
Okay.
What's been your favorite experience or memory as a soldier in the Rhode Island National Guard?
My favorite experience is, I wouldn't say is in the Rhode Island. It's when I went to basic training, because I was a little of age. I was older, so and my kids was in school during the time. So I said I'm going to go when they got out of school, which was in June. Okay. So I went there with the what we call in the recruiting world as split ops. Yeah. So they're high school juniors that got to come back to high school and become seniors. Some of them have never left home before. Some of them have never even left their house to travel to another city. So I was, I believe, 28 years old when I went with all these, well, I hate to, junior enlisted soldiers, but they were literally kids.
They're kids.
Right? They were
like
17.
18 to like 22.
The average age was 17. Yeah. 17 or 18. Nobody was even 19. And I had 2 kids at the time.
That's already a lot of life experience.
That was hard, but it was heartbreaking for me to leave them. You know, it was tough for me. But to see that how much I was surrounded by so many kids that was so, they were scared. Just fear was in their hearts of the fact that they are away from their parents, away from home, away from something they were comfortable with. And it took everything out of me. Like I wasn't even worried that I left my whole family to come here for 10 weeks and then go to another place for another 4 months. And I found myself, being like a big brother again to most of them. So the same stories I told you guys here, we would sit in the bay in the night right before bedtime, and I would literally tell them war stories about what I went through. And they will just love it. They'll be like, wow, I can't believe you went through that in a while. And they lived through my experience and realized that what we was going through, what they was going through, being separated from home, being yelled at, being screamed at, all that other stuff is insignificant to life itself. So I feel like one of the biggest impact I've made in my life, period, was when I was at basic, and how I actually helped so many, and they all contact me to this day. I mean, phone numbers, phone calls, every day they see how I'm doing. And I think that was one of the best experience I've had.
Nice. Got to be a positive experience, even at the start of your beginning as a soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see you be Sergeant Major one day, Sergeant Major Smith.
Hopefully my knees last long enough.
It's got a good ring to it, though.
I think we'll wrap it up here, Sergeant Salvas. Any last thoughts, questions, concerns?
No, I think that's it. Anything you want to add? Something we didn't talk about?
I got nothing. I just want to thank you guys for the wonderful experience, giving me the opportunity to share my story. And hopefully it does impact or positive impact on whoever sees it or hears it.
All right. Well, thank you, Sergeant Smith, for coming on the podcast. You can find him with Recruiting Command as of now. And be sure, if you see him out about GFHQ or Fogarty or WASF, you say hello.
Cool.
All right. Have a nice day.
Great talking with you.
All right. Thank you.